Today's podcast is brought to you by Visa, with the capacity to process over 65,000 transaction messages every second. Visa's been bringing innovations to the way we pay for over 60 years. Imagine a world where, instead of just tapping to pay with your Visa, you had to wait for everyone in front of you to cut a check everywhere you went. Imagine how much fun it'd be trying to track down your cousin in Milwaukee for league dues. That's why Visa's vision is to be the best way to pay and be paid everywhere, so you won't have to. Whatever your goals are, Visa makes paying fast and easy. The only thing left to figure out is, where would you like to be? Visa, everywhere you want to be.
Hey y'all, Uncle Jimmy here. When you speak for yourself, you're forced to think for yourself. And when you think for yourself, the sports world looks different. In order to enjoy this podcast and this show, you need to have the courage to look at the world from alternative points of view and not be offended when you disagree. Speak for Yourself isn't your Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram feed. The SFY tells you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. So, welcome aboard, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
We start today with this week's Chiefs-Packers showdown. All right, last year, during the first half of the Green Bay Packers season opener, Bears linebacker Khalil Mack sacked superstar quarterback Aaron Rodgers. The hit fractured the upper part of Rodgers' left shin bone and sprained the medial collateral ligament in his left knee. Rodgers was unable to walk. He was carted off the field. He returned in the second half and led the Packers to victory. He slapped on a knee brace and played the rest of the season. There was no controversy. No one vilified Mike McCarthy and the Packers for letting the then 34-year-old two-time MVP play on a knee with a history of damage dating all the way back to Rodgers' high school days. Now, someone explained to me why Chiefs coach Andy Reid announced just an hour ago that Mahomes isn't playing on Sunday. Mahomes is every bit the man that Aaron Rodgers is. Reid folded to public pressure, in my opinion. Mahomes walked off the field 8 days ago when he injured his knee on a quarterback sneak against the Broncos. Mahomes was moving normally by the time he'd walked into the stadium's tunnel. After a quick x-ray, Mahomes asked to return to the game. Reid protected him and kept him on the sidelines. This week, Mahomes has practiced on a limited basis. You know how many veteran NFL players play on Sunday after a limited week of practice midway through the season? 15, 20%. Why are we wrapping Mahomes in a protective bubble? It's an insult to compare Mahomes to RG3. When was Robert Griffin MVP of the league? When was RG3 a pure pocket passer? When was RG3 the most talented quarterback we'd ever seen? The only thing Griffin and Mahomes have in common is their fathers are black. That's it.
Man, damn.
They play two different styles of football. Mahomes is Aaron Rodgers. Hell, Packers coach Matt LaFleur said as much yesterday.
I think he's similar to Aaron. I think that's the guy he's most similar to, because they take pride in kind of giving some no-lookers at times and just making off-platform throws and changing arm angles, and not to mention just the arm strength and accuracy.
You can protect a pocket quarterback far easier than a guy who routinely makes plays with his legs. You can put Rodgers and Mahomes in a shotgun and have them get rid of the football before the rush gets there. You can play two tight ends and use one of them in pass protection. This isn't the old school days of the NFL where defenders will attack Mahomes' knee. The rules prohibit it, and for the most part, the players are smart enough to know quarterbacks like Mahomes, Rodgers, and Brady are good for the financial health of the league. Could Patrick Mahomes have gotten hurt Sunday night? Absolutely. It's football. He can re-injure that knee on any given Sunday. Reid, Mahomes, and the Chiefs have one goal this season, winning the Super Bowl. It's way too early in the season for Kansas City to concede home field advantage to the Patriots. Going to Foxborough in the postseason is a death sentence. The Chiefs need to beat the Packers Sunday night, and there's nothing Aaron Rodgers can do that Patrick Mahomes can't, including performing at a high level on a sore knee. I think Andy Reid's going to regret this decision. All right, joining the desk now are a couple of former Pro Bowlers who played through some injuries themselves. Steve Berline and LeVar Arrington and Marcellus Wiley. You think Andy Reid will regret this decision?
If y'all didn't play through all them injuries, you'd be Hall of Famers up here. But damn it, shortened your careers, didn't it? No, he won't regret this. And may I answer your question that you didn't ask of me? Why did Andy Reid come out and say we're not playing Patrick Mahomes this weekend? Because of Aaron Rodgers. The same example you used to support your case, I'm going to use to go against your case. Aaron Rodgers last year played injured. I wonder what the Green Bay Packers record was post-injury. Oh, damn it, I got my notes. 3-7-1. I wonder if Aaron Rodgers went out there and balled out of control. 25 touchdowns, lowest number as a starter for Aaron Rodgers in his career. I wonder if anybody was affected by Aaron Rodgers going out there playing hurt. Oh, collateral damage. Mike McCarthy, where you at? Where you at, Mike McCarthy? Hello?
Bye.
My point is this.
Bye, Mike.
A lot is attached to the young NFL MVP, Patrick Mahomes. And this is just a great corner man who is saying, look, I'm going to protect you against yourself. I'm going to throw in the towel this fight, and we'll see you, champ, in the next one.
You know, I think that there's a lot of merit to what you just said there, 100%, and I am taking your side. There's never was an issue, a decision to be made about Patrick Mahomes playing this week, in my opinion. He was out there dancing around on the practice field a little bit, but all of us that have played, we saw that he was favoring that knee. He was not moving like Patrick Mahomes moves. Number one. Number two, he's still nursing an ankle injury.
Yeah.
So he's got a bad ankle and a bad knee now. And the problem is when you have a dislocated kneecap, I talked to one of my sports orthopedic surgeon friends. He said in order for that knee to be dislocated, you have to tear a ligament, the medial patellar femoral ligament. Say that 3 times real fast. In order to dislocate the knee, that has to tear. So that did happen. And that thing needs time to heal. There is risk to further injury to the knee if you go out and play on it. Giving him that extra week and having him come back 2 weeks from the time of the injury is much different than 1. I don't think there ever was a decision to be made. I think Andy Reid was just trying to place some doubt in the mind of the Green Bay Packers.
Whitlock LaSalle is the only resident ER certified person for this show.
Right.
I don't know if you got that one, Berline. The memo is he's the only doctor on the show, so I can't take your information and use that in my argument. But I will say this: the more I've been thinking about this, and it pains me to do this. I am leaning more towards what Whit is talking about, and I started thinking about times. Forget the pros. I started thinking about times in high school. It came up in talking about Aaron Rodgers. I remember having a legitimate knee injury that took place in high school, and they taped it up. They created the ligament for me with the tape and put the knee brace on it. And I went out there and I played. And I started thinking to myself, okay, from the vantage point of the injury itself, if he's out there and he's practicing and he's cleared and he's able to go out there and he's able to play, I started thinking, what is the true value of him going out there? Is it to win, or is it building and continue to build the presence of what he represents to this team? Now, looking at football from the football aspect of it, if I'm taking out let's be careful with him, let's hope that we can have him for the future, let's move on and see how good he's going to be after he's fully healed, I think it almost takes away from the essence of what football has truly represented. It's a battle of attrition. It is a focus on being able to push through and be able to perform no matter what the circumstance may be. So I have tended to lean a little bit and sway a little bit more towards this is the leader of your team. This is football. This is his profession. And part of me says if he is able to go, he's cleared, and he's willing to go, and he can handle the pain of putting that weight on his leg, I think you put him in there.
I don't think anything's going to be different next week when they roll him out there, other than the public perception. He will not be 100%. His ankle's still hurt. His knee is still hurt. It's just the public, oh, well, they rested him a week. He's better. That's all that's going to happen. Andy Reid floated this out here earlier in the week to see how we would respond. And it was a trial balloon. They looked at it, was like, well, we're going to catch way too much heat.
No way. That does not come into their decision. That does not come into the decision. You know that.
Oh, I know that.
It does not come into the decision.
Public perception.
Not
in
at all.
this era. The whole damn world is bowing to public perception.
The whole world,
Steve.
The whole world. The decision is whether or not he can play in the game and play effectively. He couldn't drop back right now and plant and throw. off of that leg. And you talk to any doctor that knows, and I did have a conversation this morning, there is a huge difference between going 14 days between games and not playing and letting that thing heal up as opposed to going 7 days, playing on it again, probably re-irritating it,
keep in
and then
mind,
going another 7.
we got to be factual. They played on a Thursday night, so he's going to have 10 days. But your point still remains the same.
Well, no, 10 days plus another 7.
Got you.
So we're talking about 2+ weeks.
Right, yeah.
Every day matters as far as the healing of a knee. Now, you could say he got up and he walked up the tunnel, no problem, didn't limp. How many guys you know that have torn their ACL, blown the ACL,
right off the field,
and look like they're fine?
Clay Thompson tried to go back in the game after running
until he turns on that knee and all of a sudden,
Look, I mean, there's guys that have played with torn ACLs. I played my whole senior year of college football with a torn ACL.
That's why you didn't go pro, though.
No, that's not why. I wasn't good. I wasn't any good.
Something like that, Marcellus.
It hurt.
But look, all I'm saying is, when you're a pocket passer, that's why this whole RG3 thing has infuriated me. He's not RG3. Once RG3 lost his legs, he was done. This is a pocket passer. That's why the Packers got away with it last year.
He's not a pure pocket passer.
And he's the best we've ever seen. And if Aaron Rodgers had Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and the weapons that Mahomes has, he would have played a lot better last year.
Can we get a little layer? Like, it's one thing to say, can you go out there and play? It's another thing, can you protect yourself? And when you're injured, you may not be able to go to that next level. And protecting yourself means you have trust in yourself. You have trust in that knee. You can go to 6th gear if necessary. He doesn't have that internally. He doesn't have that kind of confidence. Let's also talk about all the other variables that lets me know that we're distracted and what we should be focused on, which is his health. We're talking about playoff seeding. We're talking about losing standings and records. We're talking about all these other variables.
Football. I'm always talking football.
Well, football is the great game of skill and a greater game of will. And will you make a bad decision, Andy Reid, and put your starter out there in this situation? I'm glad you're not. Because there's no death sentence. You wrote in your Whitlock, going to Foxborough is a death sentence. Oh, no, it's not. 3 teams in the last decade have went to Foxborough in the playoffs and won. Damn near half of them, it
with
seems
a healthy Patrick Mahomes, you got a pretty darn good chance of going up there and getting
going against a 42-year-old, and you got the MVP.
January?
You got
Who's
the MVP
healthy in January.
Well, I'm just saying it's not a death sentence.
But there's the other element of the component is looking at it from the leadership standpoint. Again, I don't think we need to devalue him as a grown man, as an adult. He has the opportunity. If he's cleared and he can go out there and he can test it, just like all of us that have played this game. If you're cleared, you're going out there and you're testing it and you're seeing how it feels. I'm hearing you guys say, well, he doesn't have the confidence in himself, or he's not going to be able to throw the ball. I don't know that we know that. I don't know that we know that. Now, I won't. While I won't agree,
either.
I won't. But if he is, if he
3 to
is
6
clear,
weeks, they said initially.
I think the problem we're running into is that we are looking at it from the standpoint of, does this young man have the right to choose whether he plays in this game or not if he's cleared to be able to play? I feel like we're taking that and making that decision for him.
And I think Andy
Reid
and them did.
Debates.
I don't want to be too harsh on Andy Reid because I get it. The public perception is too bad, and I certainly don't intend any criticism toward Patrick Mahomes, and he does have a long career, and I get it. But like LeVar said, man, this is a warrior sport, and I've seen us make heroes of Aaron Rodgers last year for what he did.
Been built on,
what Ronnie Lott did, biting off the tip of his finger.
How about,
or whatever.
The sport has also been haunted by regret that doesn't necessarily get a voice.
Because of public opinion.
Well, let me just tell you, let me bring it home. One of my favorite expressions is, I can impress you talking about my accomplishments. I can impress you, but I can impact you showing you my scars. The same doctor that gave me a surgery on my foot that said you should wait 8 weeks, but hey, you're ready in 2, go ahead. It's the same doctor, one day I had drinks, 5 years retired, and he said, you know, you should have never went out there on your foot. Because after you went out there on your foot, what went next?
Yeah.
Then your abdominal wall, what went next? Your hip, what went next? He said, this is post-career. But in the moment, go ahead. And he did his job, and I did my job. But sometimes you got to hold yourself
But who
back.
made the decision? When you had that conversation with that doctor, who made the decision?
All right, LeVar Arrington is back. We're joined now by Fox NFL analyst Bucky Brooks. Time now for a big story. Let's move to Dallas.
Nuggy.
which is what Michael Bennett is doing after the Patriots shipped him to the Cowboys yesterday for a 7th-round pick. Bennett was suspended by the Patriots for last week's game after getting into an argument with his defensive line coach. And in typical Belichick fashion, the team didn't waste time moving on. Bennett now joins a loaded Cowboys defensive line and a culture in Dallas very different from the one he's leaving in New England. All right, is Michael Bennett more likely to help or embarrass the Cowboys?
Help the Dallas Cowboys on the field, and I think even between the ears, this has to be a humbling experience and transition. This is 4 teams in 3 seasons. We know. We got the memo. Okay, no matter how good you are, you start having those type of transactions on your resume, some team is finally going to say, enough's enough. He's done. Because you've just wore out your welcome in terms of league-wide notice and attention. But let's talk about how he's going to help on the field. This is why I like it. 8.5 sacks, 9 sacks, and this year he has 2.5 sacks his last 3 years. More importantly, the Dallas Cowboys, vaunted defense, 6th in total defense, 9th in pass defense, a little less, 15th in rush defense, a little less, 17th in sacks? Wait a minute. This great defensive line is middle of the pack in terms of getting pressure on the quarterback, and that's exactly what he's there for. So Michael Bennett, in a new experience, breath of fresh air, and a little humble, I think he's going to go out there and get it.
Hey, man, I think this is a great move by the Dallas Cowboys. This is something that I learned from Ron Wolf. When I was with the Green Bay Packers, every year when you're preparing to make a playoff run, you need to sign a vet, a hungry vet, a vet that can give you that leadership and that mentorship that you need. The Dallas Cowboys
beating up
haven't been.
Coaches. That type leadership.
He put hands on him.
I mean, like, I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, but for Michael Bennett, Michael Bennett can guide these guys because they've never been to the promised land. He can talk to them about what it takes to be there. And it matters more when the guy that is saying those things still can play. He still can be productive, so you're more likely to listen to him. I think Jerry Jones came away with the steal in this move.
I just want to clarify to make sure Richard Sherman's playing with San Francisco. Richard Sherman didn't go to Dallas. That's the guy that can still play and provide the leadership.
Michael Bennett can still play.
Go ahead. You weren't saying that post Achilles at first. Man.
It would be very difficult for him to outdo some of the people that they brought in there in terms of character. All right.
That wasn't the question. So we wasn't talking about Greg Hardy.
All right. Well, I'm just saying, will he help or embarrass? Yeah. I mean, I would have been embarrassed making the signing of the guy you just mentioned. So you got to look at it from the standpoint of what equals embarrassment in Dallas. I don't think that Michael Bennett approaches remotely anywhere near the type of personalities that have played for this Cowboys team that would warrant us to say who he is and who we know of him as a person or a player.
So if he beats up an assistant coach in Dallas, it's okay?
Again, I don't know that. Was that confirmed that he put his hands on?
I haven't heard that.
Why do you think he just got shipped?
Put his hands on him.
I think because he got into a verbal discussion where they both disagreed and they felt as though they didn't need his services as much in New England.
That's how, need a justification.
That's how I read about it.
If it's New England,
that's how I interpret it.
It's New England. Like,
let me throw another layer on you.
Okay.
Y'all do know who Michael Bennett is, a national anthem protester.
Okay.
Jerry Jones is the national anthem supporter.
Nobody's paying
has a
attention
rule.
to that anymore.
Yeah. I get it.
They're not going to pay attention to him. What is he going to do?
He also agreed that he would stand up for the national anthem.
Well, I think he's been staying in the locker room. I think he's been staying in the locker room. But my point is, if it does, 4th team, and what do you say, in 3 years? Yeah, 4th. Yeah. If it doesn't go well here, if he gets in a dispute with the coaching staff or a teammate or whatever, that's when you flip, let me turn myself into a martyr and let me go take a knee or protest, and it's the league has got a problem with
have to be more
someone like Michael Bennett.
I hate to say this, but he would have to be more, and this is not a shot at you, Mike, but he would have to be more relevant for something like that to take place. I don't even think he's relevant enough for him to say, let me go here and turn myself into a martyr if I'm not going to be the guy that I once was on the field.
And
I don't think he matters enough.
Let's be respectful. His confrontation was over playing time. And I know I've never been in that conversation before, because when I didn't get a lot of playing time, I deserved not to get a lot of playing time. So to be a guy who has 2.5 sacks coming off of 9 sacks last year, and now you're playing 11 plays of 60 in the last game, he's like, hey, this doesn't add up.
And 9 sacks is a lot of sacks.
A lot of sacks. So he's like, this doesn't add up. I don't know what the extent of the competition.
Who you gonna believe, Belichick or Bennett?
Belichick.
Thank you.
Because of Bennett in Vegas.
Right.
So I don't know what the hell Vegas was.
Hold on now. Don't put that on Michael Bennett.
Yeah, well,
like that.
but what I'm saying
He was overly aggressively handled in that circumstance.
No, he wasn't. But we're not talking about that. We're not what we're talking about is the 11. He got 11 snaps. That's Belichick's evaluation of his play.
But look, hold on.
So whose evaluation am I going to believe?
But look, you know the Patriots, each game plan is a snowflake. And depending on what they want to do to attack the other team, that's who plays. There have been times, look, the Super Bowl, Malcolm Butler didn't play.
Hello.
Malcolm Butler was a Pro Bowl player that didn't get a snap. So I can't just take everything based on how Bill Belichick treated Michael Bennett. What I do know is Michael Bennett can help the Dallas Cowboys. Michael Bennett can still rush the passer. Michael Bennett would do something for them in the locker room that they didn't have. He would give them another leader, someone that could talk to them about how to get to the next level. Yep. I think
he didn't
he's
provide that
piece.
type of leadership in New England.
They didn't need
that.
Oh,
they didn't need
If they needed it, he would have given it to them.
If they needed it, I'm sure he could have given it to them. They didn't need it.
Now I know why you single. Dog, you can't be in no relationship doing this. You would have given it to me. I would have given it.
That's it, but that ain't how it works. The thing you talking about, with him being relevant off the field, he's already relevant off the field. The things that he and his brother do in terms of the programs with the kids, the things that they've done with the kids' books, all of that other stuff, they're fine. Like, it's not about him protesting and all that. If he wants to play, look, he's played long enough. His legacy is cemented for whatever it is that he wants to do.
True.
He has an opportunity to go back home and play.
True.
You should have.
Chance of helping or pulling a Juicy Smollett in Dallas.
Juicy Smollett.
I say Juicy Smollett all the way. LeVar Arrington and Steve Berline are back. Let's move to the Patriots, who are humming along at 7-0. But one NFL insider seems to think there may be trouble in paradise, with ESPN's Adam Schefter saying yesterday that he thinks Tom Brady returning to New England next season is the least likely of all options. As wild as that sounds, Brady himself acknowledged this week that he doesn't know what the future holds for him and the Patriots. Question here is this a sign Brady has an issue with Belichick?
No. This is a sign that Belichick has an issue with Tom Brady. And it's in production efficiency. You understand this? There are times when you play the great game of football when you can win the crowd but lose your coach. And people don't know those moments until you get into that film session with coach. And it's the all 22. And there's no commentary. And it's just coach with a damn red laser lighting you up. Despite on Sunday, everyone was loving you up. And Coach Belichick is looking at Tom Brady. By the numbers, this is supported. We saw it last year in Tom Brady. Every single round of the playoffs, he was worse in terms of his efficiency. There are plays being left on the football field. And this is partly why he was so eager to keep Jimmy Garoppolo. He wanted to move on in terms of really closing that gap of efficiency. Tom Brady, by the numbers, is in decline. We know that. He's 42. You expect it. But Belichick, who likes to get to the party early, wants to turn that page, I think. But the problem is he's protected, Tom Brady is, with those rings. And we always throw out the cliche, Super Bowl or bust. No one is living more of an existence of Super Bowl or bust than Tom Brady, because trust me, those expectations are absurd, and he continues to meet them. But the day, the moment, the second he does it, Belichick's ready to move on.
I don't know how to respond to that.
That's pretty interesting.
But I would say this. Tom Brady, we all know what the three options are. I mean, Adam Schefter's not telling us anything new. He's either going to come back and be the quarterback of the Patriots, he's going to retire, or he's going to go somewhere else. What is he telling us there? Nothing.
He tells that the least likely one is him coming back.
Saying the least likely. It says, in my opinion, it seems to me that would be the least likely option.
That's still new, Steve, because there was a day where you never thought about Tom Brady being elsewhere.
Well,
so that's new. That's a new option.
It's new that he's saying it seems to me that might be the option. Now,
I think it's an informed opinion.
It's got to be informed. Everything that comes out of that, it's informed for sure. No doubt about that. But the question I think you really have to ask is what does Tom really want to do? I don't think that Tom Brady would like to pack up and go somewhere else for 1 year pick a team that he wants to go to that does not speak his language. He's got to go through and deal with all the new culture that he's built the house in New England. That place runs according to Tom's rules. And now obviously Belichick's rules, but as far as getting Tom Brady, who's inflating the footballs for Tom Brady? Those guys all know exactly how Tom likes it done. And they know exactly what Tom expects every time he steps in the room, in the meeting room, in the locker room. Everybody knows exactly how he wants things done. If he goes somewhere else, he's got to try and bring everybody else. I don't think Tom Brady wants to go somewhere else. That's my perception of the whole thing. I think it's going to be.
Does he have a problem with Belichick?
I think that it's a marriage, like any other marriage. I think that they have learned to coexist.
Don't tell on yourself.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, right.
Thank you for clarifying that. But no, I think as in any union between two people, there's going to be good and bad times. And they've been together for so long. It's been an unbelievable success run they've been on. I think they know how to coexist. No two people, coach and quarterback, have ever been able to fight through and weather the storm better than Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. So I think that they can coexist no matter what the situation is.
I don't see it as an issue. I see it as a line item. And I think both sides have been addressing the line item for probably up to several years before we even got to this point. I mean, we saw that he put his home on the market. We didn't mention that. We know that there has been handwriting on the wall that it's probably getting to that point in time where you got to look at how much longer is he going to be here? And a lot of people said last year could have been it. A lot of people are speculating this could be the year where it happens, but I don't think it's an issue. I really don't. I really look at this as they may be softly letting people know, so it's not that big of a hard landing or a hard pill to swallow when we get to that point of where you say, listen, this is it for Tom Brady as a New England Patriot. So I don't see it as an issue. It's a line item.
You know, yeah, I think it's probably a sign that both parties are ready to move on. And it could be like a very successful marriage. The kids have graduated from college, and the two adults say, hey, we did our job, baby. You know, they got degrees, they're off and running. And
goodbye.
It might
I don't even know you no more.
Because your purpose was raising the kids and the family. And again, their purpose was going down in history as the greatest coach and quarterback duo ever. They've accomplished that. And so maybe now it's time for both to try something new.
The leverage is with Belichick, one, because he's the coach. But beyond that, even in this marriage, the leverage with Belichick, because Belichick is getting ammunition to get rid of Tom Brady by Tom Brady's performances. As you get evaluated as a team and individually, whatever those individual grades are for Tom Brady now, they're less than what they used to be. Here are some examples. He's on pace this year to finish less than 30 touchdowns, fewer than 30 touchdowns, and that's 3 of the last 4 seasons. But before that, the 5 seasons before, he finished above that 4 of the 5 seasons. You know what that means, y'all? That his floor has now become his ceiling. Think about that. You are at a new entry point in terms of who you are as a quarterback for this team. It happened to Joe Montana, and everyone always says, oh, no, they have Steve Young at toe. Do you think Bill Belichick needs somebody accomplished as a backup to make him somebody? He made a 6th-rounder to GOAT, and he wanted another guy, Jimmy G, and Matt Castle went out there and got 11 wins. So you got to know who you're talking about in this marriage before you start saying who really has the leverage.
I think the big question of all of this, when you look at the comments that Tom Brady has made, we understand when you get to that point where he sees the skills diminishing a little bit. He knows the production's down a little bit. He also knows he still knows how to win.
Oh, yeah.
The question is whether or not he has the passion to keep coming back and doing it again. And again, his comments, it's been a great 20 years here. Mr. Kraft has been great to me. Coach Belichick's been great to me. He's talking like a guy that's looking in the mirror to me and saying, do I want to go through this anymore? I will go back to that same issue. Does he want to pick up and go somewhere else, if that is one of his options? I don't think he wants to do that. I think it's a question of whether it's going to work out in New England for another year or whether he's going to hang it up and say, I'm done. Because I do see myself diminishing in my skills and in my production.
All right, we're joined now by Fox NBA analyst Cuttino Mobley and senior NBA insider for The Athletic and Stadium, Shams Charania. Let's move to the NBA.
I like that.
Where Kawhi Leonard and the Clippers spoiled the Warriors opener at their brand new arena last night, dominating Golden State in a 141-122 win last night. Steph Curry had an off night, and the Warriors look like a shadow of their once dominant selves. After the game, Steve Kerr basically told everyone to get used to it.
This is not, not a one-off. This is the reality. There's going to be nights like this year, so you got to play through it, and you got to keep fighting and keep getting better, and that's the plan. It doesn't feel very good. Losing stinks. It's no fun, but you just this is more the reality of the NBA than the last 5 years. We've been living in a world that isn't supposed to exist. 5 years that basically was record-wise, I believe, the best stretch if anybody's ever had over 5 years. So this is reality. Nine guys, 23 or younger, and we're starting over in many respects.
Doesn't surprise me that Steve Kerr would focus in on Golden State, and maybe he should, but I think he's missing the forest for the tree. That was about the Clippers, man.
Yeah.
The Clippers are tremendous. And I don't think this was some big show of how terrible Golden State is. That, to me, seemed like a statement about how good the Clippers are.
How great the Clippers are. And it wasn't hyperbole day one when I said, this team is going to be historic. Like, we don't know how great this team is going to be because they're not even fully loaded yet. And despite them having instant chemistry because of the culture that was built and the team being built from the bottom up, which is reverse engineering how today's NBA was going about it. They were trying to find their stars and then say, can we find enough depth to support our stars? And the Clippers, for various reasons, couldn't do that.
They did it in reverse.
They did it in reverse. And by doing it in reverse, you got everyone knowing their roles. Egoless, selfless, all servers knowing that they all gonna eat.
It's actually genius.
It's genius. And then what's the best part about it all is then you add those two cherry on top, and voila. You got a tool belt that has knives, ninja stars, bullets, BBs, whatever you want, we got a weapon for you. I mean, Patterson goes out there and hits 6 threes. Kawhi does load management in 3 quarters, and he still drops 20. It's going to be crazy this year, and I'm glad to see it.
They were built with so many dogs already, like Marcellus said. All they had to do was plop Kawhi Leonard in there, and they just go to a totally different level. But going back to the topic, I think a lot of it is also Golden State. The way this team was constructed, you have a lot of players. I mean, look at who they have filling in for Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson. Glenn Robinson III and Marquise Chris. I mean, that's just those guys are nice young players, but you're substituting those two guys in for Hall of Famers. You're seeing the drop-off right now.
Yeah, I don't really think so much is it that the Warriors are terrible. Yeah, the injuries has hurt them. But you got to realize this. You have Iguodala, Sean Livingston that's not playing with them, right? And then you have Klay Thompson that's not playing. The Warriors did score 122 points. That's not easy.
Yeah. Against our second team, you're right.
That's not easy. No, it doesn't matter who was it against. At the end of the day, your second team, Clippers' first 10 can start anywhere else. They first 10. So the Lakers had a problem scoring against the Clippers.
Yeah.
Okay? So you look at the Golden State Warriors, Draymond Green's frustrated. Stephen Curry doesn't have all his guys with him. And at one point in time, if you have Iguodala, Sean Livingston, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson on the floor, you have 4 great defenders. Just like the Clippers do every single time they're on the floor. Whoever's on the floor, you have those guys. So I think it's more about the Clippers just being that good.
All right, let's move to another team with a disappointing debut. James Harden and Russell Westbrook and the Houston Rockets, who fell to Giannis and the Bucks last night. Harden couldn't get anything going, making just 2 shots from the field, and it only took a few minutes before he and Westbrook were going at it. But after the game, Russ said it was all much ado about nothing.
Yeah, I mean, the animation is, because we were talking about something, but don't deep dive too much into it. Like I told you, there's nothing that nobody around the world, media, anybody to be able to get in between what we have, because we had it for so long. So the more you keep asking, the more it ain't gonna work.
Yeah, they're really leaning into a Russ is, hey, we're great friends. We're great friends. Don't read anything to it. Man, I got some very close friends that I don't want nothing to do with working together with. And the question is, was this little clash something or nothing? I say it's something.
Wow, that's a good angle right there. I say it's nothing. How many first dates have we went on and you're just sitting there shaking your head like, can the character go away? Can I get the real reveal? And they're not walking on eggshells on their first date, the first time out there as Houston Rockets. And I love that. It takes me back to when we watched Dwayne Wade and LeBron year one in Miami, when they were having that tug of war or worse, trying to grab it. Who's going to grab it?
Who's LeBron in that?
Don't do that yet. I ain't done with it.
What are you doing?
Who's LeBron?
Because
finish it.
you know who LeBron is.
Who?
James. No,
neither one.
Neither one. No, this is the dynamic.
Hope James is going off on him about that haircut. But anyway, go ahead.
You don't like the one little thing?
You don't like that?
You don't like the bang braid? You don't like the bang braid?
You and I can't grow that no more. That don't mean it's not nice.
But no, I mean, look, Fizdale went there and talked about how it was Dwayne's house, but LeBron deserved the master bedroom. And they wasted an opportunity, even though they made the finals and didn't win it, in part because they didn't know how to coexist. To me, this shows tremendous belief in our relationship, and they're going to have a great existence together because you don't go there day one if you care about the optics. You go there if that's authentic and real.
Look at when this happened. They were winning this game. This was in the first half when they were actually playing really, really well. If this happened when they were losing, like you saw a lot of times when James Harden and Chris Paul were getting into it, even, in the aftermath of losses, you saw that really weighed on the team. Everyone saw that around that entire organization last year when James and Chris would get into it in the locker room after losses. This was when they were up. So the fact that they were up, that they had enough, really balls to challenge each other when we're up, you really see that, when they're losing. And when they lose together.
It's funny you say that because I was going to say that. That's when they're up. They've been boys since they were kids.
Right.
We're going to argue. That's okay. It's healthy. But at the end of the day, we don't know exactly what they were saying to each other. It could have been like Capella dropped the pass. Bro, don't give him to him when it goes there. Just that, whatever. He's trying, maybe that was the type of constructive criticism that was going on. So to think about this and put it in a negative perspective, I don't think that's fair on game one. And Milwaukee also is a really good team, and everybody knows D'Antoni's teams, what do? You can always come back on D'Antoni's teams because they'll just come down. I've seen James throw the ball to House, and he dribbles, step back, and shoot a three. Do you think any other team will let someone do that all the time? They shoot ill-advised shots. Yeah. So when you're shooting ill-advised shots and your star player is 2 for 13, it's going to be tough nights.
Who doesn't Westbrook beef with? I mean, who does?
I don't think he'll beef with James. Honestly, I don't.
He beefs with everybody.
But they grew up together, two LA dudes on their second stint.
But he's a type A personality. You're a type A personality. Yeah. Well, I'm a type A personality when I play. I'm for real when I play, right? I might be nice right now, but I'm for real when I play. It's just his intensity. We're misconstruing it like it's a negative thing. It's not negative. And James known them, like I said before, since they were kids. Right. So they can literally cuss each other out, and it's okay.
I'm not really worried about them fitting his personalities. I was worried about Chris Paul and James Harden fitting his personalities. Yeah. I think, honestly, Chris Paul and James Harden might fit together better as players on the court than these two do, but these two are way more closer off the court.
All right, before we go, I'd like to address the latest developments in the NBA China controversy. Yesterday, Vice President Mike Pence reignited the issue when he trashed the NBA and Nike for kowtow into the communist country. Pence accused the NBA and Nike of acting as wholly owned subsidiaries of the authoritarian regime. Last night, TNT's Inside the NBA cast discussed the issue with Commissioner Adam Silver. Silver pretty much stuck to previously spoken talking points. My good friend Charles Barkley told Pence to shut up and Vice President.
First of all, man, Vice President Pence needs to shut the hell up, number one. All American companies are doing business in China. All American companies are doing business in China. I thought the criticism of Commissioner Silver and LeBron James was unfair. Listen, Daryl Morey, who I like, he can say whatever he wants to, but there are consequences. But I don't understand why these holier than thou politicians, if they so want to worry about China, why don't they stop all transactions with China?
All right, I don't blame Barkley for defending the league that made him rich and famous. I hope NFL players take note and defend the league that made them rich and famous the way basketball players defend the NBA. But Barkley's wrong here. Nike's behavior is problematic. Nike, the $40 billion a year business, controls the $8 billion a year NBA. Nike is the American cultural influencer doing the bidding of China. For nearly 100 years, and certainly since Jesse Owens stuck it to Adolf Hitler at the 1936 Berlin Olympics and the epic prize fights between Joe Louis and German heavyweight Max Schmeling, during this same time frame, American sports have symbolized and celebrated American values globally. Owens and Lewis became this country's first beloved African-American icons thanks to their exploits in track and field and boxing. Their success paved the way for Jackie Robinson breaking the color barrier in Major League Baseball, and Robinson's success paved the way for Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement. The sports world has been the front lines for a much larger American cultural war. Communist regimes, from the old Soviet Union to modern China, realized the way to win the culture war against America is through athletics. Vice President Pence is aware of this. That's why he appropriately called out Nike. It's not a coincidence that Nike is financing virtually all the high-profile athletes who are attempting to smear the NFL as racist. The NFL is the most powerful force in American popular culture. It's the #1 TV show on 5 different television networks. Who's financing Colin Kaepernick? Nike. Does Odell Beckham Jr. offer up a different complaint about the NFL every week? Does he not try to subtly portray the NFL's treatment of him as racist? What shoe company does Odell have a contract with? Nike. Did LeBron James call NFL owners slave owners on the shop? Has LeBron been a big part of the narrative pretending that the NBA is superior to the NFL because NBA players can wear T-shirts with the word equality printed on them? Nike is dependent on China and has been currying China's favor with a steady drumbeat of marketing that portrays China's rival as bigoted and sexist. Has Cap tweeted a word about China? LeBron basically told us communists buy shoes too. The American sports media won't connect these dots because Nike's been inviting us to Oregon for decades and letting us have whatever we want at major discounts. You sitting at home mad that I'm telling the truth about Cap, Bron, and Nike? You think China loves your black ass more than America? Let me tell you about Wendell Brown, the kid we just brought home from a Chinese prison. Keep letting these multi-millionaire corporate brands fool you into believing they're looking out for your best interest. They answer to Nike, and Nike answers to China. LeVar Arrington and Steve Berline are back. Let's return to the NFL, where the Browns have been talking a big game heading into their showdown with the Patriots in Foxborough Sunday. Jarvis Landry guaranteed a win before walking it back. And now the receiver says Bill Belichick is amazing, but not a genius, adding that New England hasn't faced a young quarterback like Baker Mayfield. This just a week after Sam Darnold admitted Belichick had him seeing ghosts, which is pretty much what Belichick does to young quarterbacks, with first and second year guys losing 20 straight to the coach, holding them to some atrocious numbers. All right, the question here is Baker Mayfield going to see ghosts against the Patriots or be a ghost buster?
You know you're going to see them ghosts. Mama, turn the lights on. Belichick. Don't say it 3 times, Baker.
Oh, don't
say it 3 times.
Don't do it.
The great Clubber Lang once described what's going to happen in this game.
Dead meat.
Pain.
Oh.
Pain. Belichick is talking about this. Players are in New England, not even bulletin board material. It's coming out of his mouth. Ooh, the passion. What he's describing to his players is live up to standard. And you know what we do. And he has one of the best defenses he's ever had. And historically, by the numbers, it's the best defense, only giving up 6.9 points a game. And now he sees a second-year player in Baker Mayfield who's feeling himself. And according to Rex Ryan, and you could tell me better, Steve Berline, Baker Mayfield is a one-read quarterback. And in this new wrinkle cover zero that Belichick is throwing at them guys, if you read only one receiver, Clubber Lang told you what's coming. Pain, brother.
No, I would have to agree. I think it's going to be, he's going to see ghosts, no doubt about it. You look at what he's been through this year on his own against no defense even near the caliber of the New England Patriots defense. Yeah. He had that deer in the headlights look after that game, late in that game last weekend when he was coming off the 3 interceptions. And you saw him on the sidelines. He did not look like the same Baker Mayfield that we're used to seeing, with the swagger, with the confidence and walking around slapping his teammates on the butt and getting everybody fired up, ready to go. He was looking like he had just experienced the ultimate, shame, and he had. And you think about what he's going up against right now. You mentioned this Patriots defense. Woo. What they're putting up every single week now is they're first or second in all the top categories in football. But now they've played only 2 quarterbacks in Ben Roethlisberger and Case Keenum that aren't in their first or second year. Every other quarterback they've played this year have been first or second year quarterbacks. That's what's gotten them to that level, playing against inexperienced quarterbacks. Having said that, here comes another one. Baker Mayfield's going to taste exactly the same piece of pie that the last 6 quarterbacks that have faced the Patriots, first or second year guys, have been eating this year. He's going to struggle. He's going to look bad. Patriots are going to walk away with this one.
I've tried to come up with so many different angles of looking at it. Is it the running game that can alleviate some of the pressure that's going to be on Mayfield? Is it, the confidence of Jarvis Landry and maybe Odell not being Mr. Buttman this week? I really feel as though there's some type of angle we could possibly find that would say Baker Mayfield can overcome the machine. I call him the machine. They could say see ghosts. It's a machine. And every single time I tried to come up with something that would give me some type of ammunition to fall on the side of the Browns, I can't. I can't. There's nothing there. There's nothing there for me to draw from to say, okay, is there the possibility that they can run the ball? It's possible. But will they run the ball? Be able to? I don't think they will be. I think this defense is really too good for anything that's going to be stated to happen.
Listen,
positively.
And I got to be careful here because I don't want to be an idiot too many times about the Patriots. But I've heard people say the key to solving the Patriots' defense are wide receivers that can beat press man coverage.
Yeah.
Odell Beckham Jr., Jarvis Landry, and I think that's what provoked Jarvis Landry to say, hey, man, him and Odell, hey, we're going to see some press man, and we're going to beat it, and we just need Baker to deliver us the football. And so part of me, again, I'm not picking the Browns to win, but I do think this game's going to be a bit more competitive than what people think. Baker Mayfield's backed up against the wall. The Browns are backed up against the wall. Landry and Odell Beckham are both very talented, backed up against the wall. You back a rat up against the corner, and they come out fighting. So I think Baker's going to be a bit of a ghostbuster this week.
The problem with that, just super quick, the problem with that is what Marcellus alluded to earlier. As a defender, you're coming into this game, and he's like a super defender mind with what he does. He's a one-read quarterback. You don't have, whether they are able to beat press coverage or not, you still got to be able to read who's beating that press coverage. If it's not the guy that you have in your sights with that one read, they're going to get you. Yeah. They're going to get you. So if the guy that is getting press coverage that is the first read of Baker Mayfield, then they may have a chance if they can do that. But that's a long shot.
Well, the other thing that I think doesn't get enough attention, you talk about the Patriots lining up and playing press coverage. If they did that every time, then it would be an easy job to be the quarterback because you could find the matchup that you want. But what Bill Belichick does, and you defensive guys know this better than any coach has ever done it, he disguises and he takes away what he thinks are your top 2 threats. Yeah. He's going to go into this game right now, I'm telling you, he's going to take away Odell Beckham and he's going to take away Nick Chubb. And he's going to say, if we lose with him throwing to Jarvis Landry all night, so be it. Mm-hmm. But he doesn't think you can beat him going to Jarvis Landry all night. And he's going to try and bait you into a few throws to Jarvis Landry. And that's where Baker Mayfield has to be disciplined and protect the football and not throw it into those traps.
Don't discount the will. There's nobody I would rather swap bodies with this weekend in football than Baker Mayfield because of the enormous opportunity he has to will this team to a victory over this Patriots defense and be the reason all of that noise and the cultural issue and leadership problems, immediately evaporate if Baker Mayfield finds a way. And that's what he has to be focused on, find a way.
They're going to do the same thing they did with Whitlock, what you just said.
Thank you.
All right, Darnell, what's going on with the Super Six?
Yeah, we actually had another winner. So shout out to Thursday Night Football Super Six jackpot winner from Maryland who won Terry Bradshaw's 25 G's last night.
DMV.
Before the games kick off on Sunday, be sure to download the Fox Sports Super 6 app.
Yes, sir.
Play for free for a chance to win up to 10 times that amount. Browns Patriots is actually one of the matchups this week. So Whitlock, Marcellus, help our fans out. Help them get some money, man. Give us a winner and a score.
I'm going to say New England 28, Cleveland 23. 5-point game.
23?
They don't cover the spread.
Oh, man. A team only
I'm not
gives up
betting on that, though.
7 points a game. They're going to get 23? I got New England 34, Cleveland Browns 9.
Yeah, that's much better.
Whitlock and Wiley.
Drop it one more time.
LeVar Arrington and Bucky Brooks are back. Let's move to the Seahawks,
Don't do that.
who head to Atlanta Sunday looking for a bounce-back win after Lamar Jackson and the Ravens beat them on their own field. It was only Seattle's second loss of the year, but both have come against teams with winning records, while only one of their 5 wins has come against a team that's over 500. And when you dig into the numbers, Seattle is pretty average in some areas. They have just a plus 5-point differential and only 11 sacks on the year. They're also giving up almost 140 passing yards per game the last few weeks and 26-plus points in 5 of their last 6 games. All right, are Russell Wilson and the Seahawks actually a tiny bit overrated?
No. I don't play the schedule revision game where I start to look at wins and losses and say, oh, you could have lost that one. Could have won that one. You know why? It's a slippery slope. If we want to play that game, let's play it just for exercise purposes. You know who you can do that against right now? The 49ers, Patriots. We can start saying, those games right there, because of level of competition, you start taking away from what a W is and what an L is. So there's so much invested in every single game and every single performance that I think it gets a little too simplistic when you start to say, well, you could have lost that one. Do you know that was a manufactured result based on our work that turned into that product and that result? So I just don't play that game.
No, I don't play. Look, here's the thing about the Seattle Seahawks. They have to play a certain way for them to win games. And all the stats that you put up were all their defensive stats. Well, the way that you play great defense is don't put the defense on the field. Their offense has always been the unit that controls the game. Running the ball, they used to run the ball more than any other team in the National Football League. Russell Wilson would make their plays. So for them to win, it's more incumbent on their offense to play possession, keep away, limit the opportunities that their defense has to go on the field. That's how they win. Ignore the defense stat. It's more on Russell Wilson and that offense to make sure that they're always operating at an efficient level.
Yeah, that's pretty much what my point was going to be. I don't think they're overrated. I think that they're actually in a commendable situation because they are trying to redefine what the identity of this team is. You don't have the heart and soul of that defense. You don't literally have the other piece of it on offense in terms of the heart and soul of what that offense represented anymore. And some of your offensive linemen are missing as well. It's a team that's being rebuilt, but they're still able to have success. So I don't look at it as them being overrated. They're probably achieving at the level that they probably are at talent-wise at the moment.
Well, you always are what your record says you are, but the red flag I see for Seattle is I see Russell Wilson as the MVP so far this year. I don't think that's because he has an MVP offensive coordinator. I think it's because Russell Wilson is so ripe. He's in the prime of his career. He just got that contract. And when I watch Seattle play, I see Russell Wilson winning games for them and creating magic out of third and long situations and stuff like that. I wish he had an offensive coordinator that could fully take advantage of how well he's playing right now. I think their offense could be better. And again, I don't blame them for leaning into their running game, but I think their offense could be even better, and that's when I see.
Why don't you put his name out there? Brian Schottenheimer is the offensive coordinator.
Baby Marty.
Baby Marty.
Baby Marty.
Look, here's the divide that you'll have when you look at the Seattle Seahawks. The way Pete Carroll wants to play is he wants to run the ball. However, when you have a franchise quarterback, a guy who is maybe a transcendent talent, you would think, hey, let's give him the ball, and the more bites that he has at the apple, you're going to win more games. Pete Carroll's a defensive coach. Defensive coaches want to run it. They want to control it. They understand what the running game does to your defense. It really creates opportunities. The trick is, how do we navigate that while still giving Russell Wilson enough opportunities to create those explosive plays that we need to score touchdowns?
Look, this is a pet peeve of mine, seriously, this conversation. I'm surprised I'm being so composed on this situation. Level of competition. First of all, you asked me to win. I won. Now, who y'all play? All y'all games are close. We keep moving the goalposts and redefining what the result is supposed to be. I don't know what I would have done in a 100-meter race at 105 meters. I won at 100. Stop talking about, he was coming. Oh, it was close. Shut your trap, bro. I went out there and won the games against those who were scheduled. In every single win, you put in work. And in every single loss, you put in work. It just sometimes doesn't go your way. And I think that's the complexion and misperception that when you see a Miami Dolphins team, man, they ain't doing nothing right. Oh, you ever been in a game where you blow somebody out? You still got to go in the training room. You still feel it. And I just think that this is a team that, because of chemistry, because of continuity in important positions, Russell Wilson being an example, the greatest example, they're going to win those 50-50 ball games because they have that kind of chemistry.
I get that, but I want to go back. I want you to be clear with me, Bucky, here. My take is they're not maxing out Russell Wilson, who's playing at the highest level I've ever seen him play. I put that on Brian Schottenheimer. You said Pete Carroll's a defensive coach. When Tom Brady was playing at his optimal level, Bill Belichick, the greatest defensive coach we ever saw, gave him all the freedom and all the Josh McDaniels and whoever, Bill O'Brien, score as many points as you can with Tom Brady.
The only thing is they never won a Super Bowl under that approach.
Who never won?
The New England Patriots. They never won with their offense leading the way. They always won when their defense was carrying the torch. That's just, ultimately, that's the formula.
They went 17-0.
They did all that, but they still didn't win the Holy Grail. They still didn't hoist the trophy. They lost to the Giants twice. They didn't win when the offense was leading the way. And so for Pete Carroll last year, early in the year, he tried to let Russell Wilson do his thing, but then he told, hey, we got to get back to running the ball because he understands my defense is not what it was with the Legion of Boom. I got to protect them by running the ball and really playing possession. And so even though you have this talent in Russell Wilson, for the team, the best path to victory is to run the ball and manage it.
And his numbers are on pace for a career high.
No, I get it. Yes. I just think they can get more. Uncle Jimmy's here to help us talk about our approval ratings for Andy Reid. Before that, go ahead and give Marcellus Big Dummy of the Day.
Not me. Not in these streets.
Big Dummy of the Day goes to, what did you say about the New England Patriots? I don't want to be an idiot. Too late.
Right, redundant.
Just like your love life, short and sweet.
Oh, man, all right. Let's talk some Andy Reid, who announced today that Patrick Mahomes would not play against the Packers despite practicing this week as he recovers from a dislocated kneecap. Marcellus, can the Chiefs beat the Packers without Patrick Mahomes?
Yes, they can. Matt Moore's a 500 quarterback as a starter. We saw him come in relief duty and lead them to a victory, and this is his opportunity. 2 games. All we need, Matt Moore, 2 games, man, and you'll be sitting there in luxury, brother.
No Eric Fisher, no Frank Clark, no Chris Jones, no Patrick Mahomes. Sending a MASH unit out there. I'm not hopeful.
Tyreek Hill playing?
All right, Uncle Jimmy,
got weapons.
Do you have any thoughts on Patrick Mahomes being benched here? I'm irate about it. I think Patrick Mahomes should play.
He didn't get benched. Well, of course you would be irate because this is something that you can't relate to. See, I understand Patrick Mahomes.
You do?
And I understand him wanting to play.
How?
Because he possesses what we call a player's mentality. See, real players don't take sick days.
Well, that's true.
See, that's the player Creole. Y'all know that.
The what?
You know, that's the player Creole.
Creole.
When you're a real player
Creole.
and you true to the game, why you need to take a sick day when you're born with your work clothes on?
I like that.
It's like one of my daddies told me. He said, boy, You got to get up in order to get in it.
You got to get up in order to what?
You got to get up in order to get in it.
Oh, to get in it, yeah.
That's right. Uncle Jimmy's like sugar-free. If you stay ready, ain't no need to get ready.
Yeah.
In a real way, if you know what I mean.
My tank, y'all.
Now, hold on, but wait a minute. Now, hold on. Now, at the same time, listen to me now. Now, I'm going to have to admit, I'm a little constricted here.
Constricted?
That's the word?
I'm a little constricted at what happened last year at the family gathering, nephew.
Yeah, go ahead. You're conflicted.
You remember last year? You remember what happened?
No, I don't. What?
You remember you dislocated your jaw? Trying to eat that sweet potato pie? Not a bite, not a slice. You tried to eat the whole damn pie.
Yeah.
And luckily, just luckily, we had a doctor. Now, it was a veterinarian doctor. Whoa, won't he do it, though, God? Yes, he will. He popped that jaw right back into place. Hold up. Now, you laughing, Darkness. Let me tell you something. It was a gruesome injury. It was gruesome. It was horrible to look at. It could have ended his career.
Where was I?
But I'm gonna give my nephew credit. He handled it like a real G. he was real playerish about the way he handled that. Because he walked out the kitchen on his own premonitions. Now, the doctor told him, he said, you need to rest that jaw for about 2 weeks, minimum. But what did you do? Slithered your ass right back in that kitchen the next day for leftovers.
Sandwich. Give me a sandwich.
Thus forcing us as a family to make that hard decision.
Oh, man.
We had to hog tie your ass for the rest of the weekend to keep you out the kitchen. This is why I'm telling y'all, Andy Reid is doing the right thing to Patrick Mahomes.
Oh, man.
Hog tying his ass to the bench is the best thing to do for the longevity of this relationship.
Oh, this is great.
Now, nephew, if you knew something about longevity,
Look, I'm
in and out.
People.
In and out. In and out.
Let me get to my
people.
Let me get to my Andy Reid approval rating.
Oh, what did Andy do?
62. I got him at a role player.
Oh.
I dropped his authenticity
That ain't
because if he was
funny.
keeping it real, Patrick Mahomes would be playing this weekend. I did move him up in job.
Damn, you
performance
lost that much money?
from the last.
Yeah, exactly. How is Andy
62.
Reid a role player?
We ain't won a Super Bowl yet.
But they're
gotta win a Super Bowl.
expected to go. Look, I got him higher than that. Andy,
GOAT. How you gonna be a GOAT and you ain't won a Super Bowl?
Andy Reid has touched a lot of great careers, and Andy Reid has been a great influence on the NFL MVP. So I got him higher than you, and the internet has him lower.
The internet has him at an all-star,
Right between
58%.